Officially, Dana Fakhoury, welcome to podcast.
Thank you.
Is it okay to do cheers with stage?
I think so.
Let's do it.
Good luck.
Yeah, must. All right, so today is a very special episode because it is the first time that I have a professional musician on, producer, live performer. If you've seen my show before, I've had a lot of people from the business world, entrepreneurs, investors, executive coaches, consultants. So super excited to have an actual artist on the show, and even more excited that we're going to get a live performance.
Yeah, we will.
At one point.
I'm excited about it.
I feel like I'm Howard Stern, like, you know, Howard Stern's radio show. Like, I feel like this is one of those times when I'm going to have Coldplay on or someone. So I'm very excited. We're going to hear a sample of your new track, which is dropping on April 15.
Yes.
It's called Traveler.
Yes.
And for anybody that's learning about you today, you go by the name Earlybird.
I do.
So Dana Fakhoury is a real name. Earlybird is what you are known by on stage and on SoundCloud, on Spotify, and other streaming platforms.
Exactly.
I love your music.
Thank you.
I was trying to ask myself, like, what is the genre that I would describe it as? And it's actually one of the questions I want to ask you about, like, kind of music genres. That's, you know, excuse me if I'm butchering the description here, so correct me if I'm wrong. But for me, it's like feel good, deep house, melodic. This is the kind of the genre I would describe it as. Would you classify
I
it
think
as
so. I
such?
just describe it as chill and happy
Yeah.
because that's how I am. I'm very chill and I'm very happy and energetic. So I just try to reflect myself in the music, and it's in the electronic genre.
Yeah.
Where exactly? It just like goes all over. It bounces up and down.
Absolutely. I mean, I was going to ask you about who are like some of the artists that inspire you and so on, but we can get to that later. The way I was listening to music, it reminded me a lot of Mono Link a little bit, Tash Sultana. I don't know if you know who Tash Sultana is.
I know her.
Because of the music, because you play the guitar as well as you're performing. So so super excited to learn more about your story, listen to some of your music today, and also talk to you about all these kind of topics of, you know, what's it like to approach art and music as a career. Having a creative outlet is a privilege for anybody, even as a hobby. So I'm always like inspired, and I admire people who even take a step further and approach this very important aspect of a human life as a professional endeavor. So very excited to talk to you about that, and your inspirations, your aspirations, your creative process, and also your perspective on the UAE music scene, because you're based out of Valencia.
I was,
You were, but what brought you to the UAE is Expo 2020?
Yes.
So tell us about that. Like, how was your experience coming from Valencia, playing electronic music, to perform at Expo 2020?
It was a first time that I'm a resident somewhere where it's like a 6-month gig instead of just like one place one time and then you hop onto the other one. But what was cool about it is that I never had the same audience twice, neither during the same day or during these 6 months, but I had same visitors. So I kind of had like my Expo fan base, and they became more of a family fan base where I know them because I see them in front of me.
Yeah.
And we would chat after the show, and then we'll chat on Instagram, and they're like, have you listened to this? Have you listened to that? And they would share my music and listen to it as well. So it was a very unique and new experience.
Yeah.
And I was blown away with it. I just had so much fun at Expo.
But then you listen to your style of music, and you would think on the first glance, you know, I was thinking this is like a sunrise set at Burning Man kind of music, which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
And then you think about Expo 2020 in Dubai.
It's not Burning Man.
It's not. So how did you find this melting pot of Expo 2020 and your genre of music?
I was surprised by the response that, first of all, it's original music. I'm not covering artists. I did add a few Oriental covers though. But people stuck around for 20 full minutes every set to just see what I'm doing, whether it was the magic of the push, the guitar playing, the sounds I was creating. And they were just like intrigued by it. And then they're like, oh, we're actually enjoying the music, and the sun was setting. So there was a vibe. And if it was nighttime, people on the lights team and the sound team just made it as if I was at Burning Man.
Wow.
It felt like a concert.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't actually a party. People weren't dancing or anything. It was more of a...
Everybody was seated due to COVID.
Wow, of course.
So you would see hands up and kids dancing everywhere. So you would feel the energy.
Yeah.
And it made me notice how, as people, we try to tell someone we're enjoying it if we cannot dance, and if we cannot clap, and if we cannot, we yell.
Yeah.
So people were yelling. And that's the way how we talk to each other. If I'm trying to express something and there's a musician and I want to be respectful, I just go like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm feeling your energy over there.
So that was what going on at the expo. People were yelling.
People were yelling.
Amazing, incredible.
Because they were having fun.
So you were performing live, and I think this is one thing that a lot of people, when they go to parties, most people don't really understand the person that's behind the set. Some people are DJs, others are performing live, and then there are producers. You perform live.
I perform live.
So you have your Ableton Push here.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that you use to play live music. Because a lot of people, when they go to parties, they see DJs who are mixing in tracks and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's cool and everything, but it's one thing to mix tracks. It's another thing to play live music in an actual live audience setting.
It is different.
So
it's a very weird position I'm in, because it's in between musicianship and a mix of being a DJ. Because sometimes I am like a DJ on the push, and then sometimes I'm a full-blown musician on the push. So I'm the in-between, but I'm not a DJ and I'm not a full musician, but I am a producer.
Yeah.
So it's like everyone's like, what is she? Who is she? Or anyone who does anything like me, they're always confused about what to call us.
Yeah.
So we just call it electronic art or electronic musicianship, because it's tracks. Some of them are playing as backing tracks, but we are playing one main part or two main part, and there's this mystery behind it that is really cool, that you don't know what I'm playing.
Yeah.
And just keeps you intrigued.
So explain, like, I know a little bit of Ableton and music production myself, but for those who, just hear amazing music and don't know what's going on, try to explain it to me like I'm 5. Like, what is...
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you're 5, I'll tell you that every square can create music.
Yeah.
But if it's off right now, there's nothing on it. So you see different colors.
Yeah.
Those are programmed to play different parts of the song.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the camera, making sure that we're catching it. Yeah.
All right. So this is the percussions, for example. This is guitars, this is pianos, oud, melody, and I have kicks. So everyone creates their music differently.
Yeah.
I like to fully produce it first, and then I break it down into a performance. And when I'm performing, I'm remixing sometimes. Because I would listen to a track, I'm like, oh, this is such a cool track, but it's slow for what I want it to be today.
Yeah.
So I'll remix it to be faster, I'll remix it to be more in a party mode, a beat, and then I will do that remix live.
Nice.
Not just, here, play the music.
Yeah.
So the DJ would actually produce it the same way I do, but he has the decks, or she has the decks, and she'll go like 1, 2, 3, play the song.
Yeah.
They'll play with effects. They'll play maybe with adding some more textures to it, but it's not divided into different stems. So it's not divided into kick alone, drums alone, guitars alone. That's the big difference.
That seems like a lot of improvisation that you got to do on the spot. Or, I mean, I'm sure you practice a lot of it before you actually go on stage.
Yeah.
But like, do you ever find yourself like just like an actual sort of artist with an instrument, realizing, oh, maybe something's offbeat or...
Oh, yeah. I once played a whole solo offbeat because I couldn't hear the music.
Oh, like you lost it on your headphones?
I don't have headphones. I just play with monitors.
Oh, of course, the monitor's right in front of you.
And I look up and I'm like, I can't hear anything. I don't know where the kick is.
Oh, my God.
And I lost the beat and I lost everything. But I noticed people weren't aware of what was going on, so I just played the solo. They enjoyed it. I was like, no one noticed. Great. And kept playing. Yeah.
So like visually you're looking at the beat?
No, it doesn't show me where I am visually. I just do it by ear.
Yeah.
And I do quantize it to 1 bar.
Yeah.
So if I do click at the wrong time, I'm 1 bar off.
Right. Yeah. And it would synchronize everything else as well, right?
Everything goes away. 1 bar.
Oh my God, what a mess. So I'm very curious to ask you about your creative process. Like, I tried a little bit of music production myself, and I always struggled. Like, do I start with the beat and then the melody, the musical signature, the chord progression? Do I start with the melody first, then the beat, or like? So, what is your process?
Okay.
And then, like, I love the way that you name your songs. There's always like one word or short names that seem to have a meaning to the song itself and how I feel. So, like, what is your process from creating a track to naming it?
So my process is about recreating a feeling.
Okay.
And I normally don't know how to say it with words. I can express myself with instruments, but never tell you exactly how I feel. And there's always a color scheme in my head, and I see visuals, and I try to make you feel in that time of place with the feeling I am feeling through music.
Wow. That's amazing. A little psychedelic, if you ask me. So you have an emotion that you are in your head seeing a visual representation of it, and then you represent that into. But then you must have a good grasp of like musical theory to be able to illustrate.
Zero.
Wow. Like, so is it all like how do you say it? As-sama?
Yeah, it's by ear. It's by feeling, by ear, with practice, and of course a lot of experience. I know what blends together, what doesn't go together.
Yeah.
But I am self-taught musician at the end of the day. So I just try to recreate what I'm feeling, and I try to hope that you either feel it or go on your own journey with it.
Type. I have a ton of questions to ask you, but before I do, I think let's get an example of what this whole thing is about. So April 15, Traveler drops. The name of the track is Traveler.
Yes.
Fakhoury is known as Earlybird. So would you play us? I mean, we're recording this session on April 13. What's the date
yes,
today?
it's April 13.
So the track isn't even out yet. I'm going to get to have a...
You're going to get a sneak peek.
I'm so excited.
Better than the ones on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But then we're going to release this episode after the actual episode. All right, so this is Traveler by Earlybird.
Let's do this. Are you ready?
Ready. I fucking love it. It's amazing.
That's a good reaction.
Oh my God. Dana, that was absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
I love the Oriental touch. We were talking earlier about like Burning Man as an example of like how I went to Burning Man in 2018.
Oh, cool.
Have you been?
Never, but I've been told I should be there.
You should perform there, I think. So this definitely sounded like a lot of the sunrise set music that you would get at Burning Man because of this kind of Oriental touch with house music. So how did you explain to me a little bit more, like what was your state of mind? Like how did you wake up that day when you decided you're going to come up with Traveler? And how did the music come to you?
So I was working on a cover of Ya Habibi Ta'ala.
Fairuz?
لا اسمها Han.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course, yeah.
And I'm working on it with a qanun player called Ghinwa Nimnum. So for Expo, I needed someone I knew with a qanun so I can get a few more recordings because Ghinwa was busy at the time or whatever. And I have a friend who's called Ala who plays the qanun, and he came over. And I told him, I just need you to record a few things. And then when we were done, I told him, do you have anything else on a D minor scale with the qanun? Because I want to do an extended remix.
Yeah.
And he randomly played an Arabic song.
Yeah.
And I said, wait, this is Ya Musafir Wahdak.
Oh, wow.
And he said, yes. I was like, oh, this is one of my mom's favorite songs. And he just played it on a whim.
Wow.
And so all the chops you are hearing are the qanun chopped out from Ya Musafir Wahdak.
Wow, I was going to say, it sounds very familiar. I mean, okay, the Oriental scale is clear.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you managed to synchronize an Oriental scale on a D minor. I guess they have that in common as a root note, right? But it's amazing that we have a lot of our childhood influences. Like a lot of this music, I don't know if, I was thinking about Oceanus Orientalis, like a lot of those Turkish DJs, B. Svensson, like there's a new era of Arabic Oriental music blended into house music. And for me as an Arab, and you from Lebanon, I'm from Jordan, it's very refreshing to get this like dancey vibe to like an Oriental touch.
Because normally if you listen to Ya Musafir Wahdak, it's such a depressing song. It makes you want to cry and you'll miss home. And then I was like, let's make it happy.
Oh, so Traveler is that, huh?
Traveler is, I felt very connected to the song as well because I've been traveling alone for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it feels like a lone traveler. That was the original name of the track.
Yeah.
But it felt so negative, and the track is happy and uplifting because traveling could also be fun even if you're alone.
That's such an awesome story for what happens behind the track. And I think like for most people who see a song on SoundCloud or Spotify, they play it. They see the name Traveler, like, oh, cool. They play it. They may not even recognize Ya Musafir Wahdak.
Yeah.
But like, how do you ever feel like I want to try to capture that story, but you struggle to communicate it because there's not because of a fault of your own, but like, how do you tell the story of the song that you wrote on SoundCloud or Spotify? Because that's such an awesome like background to the context of the song.
I try not to. I'll just name the track one thing that it actually means to me, and then I do want you to make it your own.
Oh, I see.
The same way you listen to any song and be like, this reminds me of this time, of this day, of this feeling, and maybe the artist didn't mean that, but you made it your own.
Ah, I see.
And then if I do get asked about it, I will share my story as well.
Very cool. See, I would think that you would want people to understand what's behind the story, but you want to make people make it their own.
Yeah, definitely.
Fascinating.
For me, it's all about traveling, and it's how I reconnected with Oriental music. Because as a kid, I always like, no, not Arabic music. Please don't play Arabic music. And as I traveled further and was further away from home, and especially during lockdown when I was just a year and a half away from everyone, I started listening to Arabic music again because it made me feel connected to my parents, to what I missed, to some sounds I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
And it just makes you feel something new.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it brings you back, and it made me want to invest into Arabic and Oriental sounds even more.
So what made you decide to leave Lebanon and go to Valencia?
I went to the States first and then to Valencia.
Okay.
I want to pursue music, and unfortunately Lebanon is not doing well these days.
Sure.
So I needed to find somewhere else to express myself and somewhere else to grow beyond what I can in Lebanon. And I went to do a master's degree in Valencia. I did a master's degree at Berklee College of Music in music production, technology, and innovation.
Yeah.
Such a long name.
I thought it's the same Berklee from California. I had to look it up and realize it's a different Berklee.
It's the Berklee from Boston, the double E, the musical one.
But then, so you studied musical production at Valencia, at Berklee's?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And I focused my whole year just on making music, collaborating, and being on stage.
Amazing.
That's all I wanted.
So how do you, I have a couple of questions here, because I know you also worked with Sofar.
Yes.
I'll tell you a fun story about that in a second. As somebody who has this podcast that is just a hobby for me, like it's a creative outlet, I really do admire and I get very inspired by those who have similar hobbies, even more so when they take a professional endeavor into creativity. So you were a full-time employee at one point. I think you were doing graphic design.
I did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm originally a graphic designer. Then I worked in TV production. I worked in real estate, then back to TV production. Very odd jobs I've done.
It's amazing. It's an eclectic, very sort of rich, horizontal experience. But then it feels like at some point or in your recent career, you're focusing a lot on music production and performing and all of that, right? And so how do you, when you take that step, I find this to be a very bold step. Because it's not an easy one. Like being an artist is not the same as being employed for all obvious reasons, you know?
Yeah.
And so the good, the bad, and the ugly of being an artist, like what drives you to keep going despite, and what are the challenges and the opportunities that you face in your path as a musician?
Anytime I try to do anything other than music, which is having a job, I can't. It doesn't fit me. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I want music even more.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing music, I find myself as a whole. I find myself as, okay, this is what I am supposed to be doing.
Wow.
It's like a magnetic attraction.
Yeah.
It just takes me. Even if I am working as a graphic designer or on videos or whatever, I'm not focused. I'm focused more. My brain is thinking in music.
Yeah.
So I just needed to take that step.
So despite all the I would imagine there's quite a few challenges to make a career out of it. Like and yet despite it, you keep going. And how purely for the love of music, it just keeps you going.
Yeah, it's my passion. It's what I want to do. It's the way I think. It's the way I breathe. It is just in me all the time. Like I feel it in my body.
Yeah, and so I wanted to ask you about Sofar. I actually know Sofar quite well because I was in New York. My first tech startup. You met Georgia, my partner. We were together in New York, and we started a company there. And we were in a place called Projective Space. Do you know Projective Space? So Far's first office was Projective Space. It was a co-working space in New York.
Cool.
And I think there were 4 girls, if I'm not mistaken, who are the founders. Maybe by the time that you joined them, there was a different team. But anyway, they used to play a lot of gigs at Projective Space in New York, in Lower East Side.
Yeah.
And so far what they do is that they have all those different gigs all around the world in like obscure locations.
Yeah, you have to know someone that knows someone to get in, or else you just don't know about it.
Yeah, and I think like once you get into this vibe, Sofar is a good example of like the moment you experience music in this like raw, off the cuff fashion, it's very hard to go back to anything conventional afterwards. So I don't know, what are these guys up to these days so far? Are you still in touch with them?
So I was with them in Valencia.
Yeah.
We had a team leader. Her name is Saria.
Yeah.
And I met her at Berkeley. That was her project. She wanted to evolve Sofar in Valencia. And I joined in as a sound engineer.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing at the beginning. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting the hang of it. And we're still in touch, but I don't know if the project is still active. Well, everything just stopped with COVID.
Yeah.
We tried to keep it active. We tried to do a few things, but it's not as much as you can do. And everybody was just online at the time, so it was hard to get anyone's attention as well. There was too much noise, I think. And then we all moved out of Valencia.
Yeah.
So I really don't know who's handling the project at the moment. I hope it's still going because we had a lot of fun growing it for 2-3 years.
Yeah, I mean, every time we would wrap up work at Projective Space at 7 p.m., there would be somebody like fixing their amplifier and like setting up, and we always have a gig at Projective Space. So I thought it was a very cool like idea, and they ended up doing a bunch of gigs all around the world. So yeah, when I realized you worked at Sofar, I was like, oh, that brings back so many good memories of New York.
Even for me, it's great memories. I just met so many random people that I would not on a daily basis, thanks to Sofar.
Yeah, yeah. There's this whole like indie scene that's emerging. I mean, it's been going around for a while. One of the things that excites me a lot, as not just as a, I mean, perhaps maybe as a podcaster, but more so as somebody who enjoys music and art is like, I don't know how much like you're keeping up with Web 3.0 and all this decentralized funky stuff, but
just composing all day. Like I'm really not open to opening any tabs.
No, but listen, I'll tell you something that's quite exciting that's going on. I know that you're not in it for the money or anything like that, but it's great to see the creator economy in the online world start to, the paradigm is shifting. So there's a whole YouTube centralized platforms creating content, allowing famous celebrities to become even more famous, and then a long tail of like amazing artists that are, they enjoy doing what they're doing. They just don't get enough attention in the what they call the attention economy. And all this like blockchain, decentralized stuff. I mean, you probably hear a lot about Bitcoin and all that jazz. Bitcoin behind me. But apparently it's supposed to also, and I can't wait for that to start actually happening, opening up the space for a bunch of up and coming artists to become relevant and to have an audience, even if it's a small audience, to be able to connect with them in a way that they would not be able to with today's YouTube and Spotify.
Patreon helped that a lot.
That's one example.
Yeah. Especially for producers and artists. Now you get behind the scenes, you get to interact with the artist by just being a member or like believing in the artist, and it helped a lot.
Are you on Patreon yourself?
No.
So the whole Web 3.0 revolution is, think about Patreon 2.0. So rather than having Patreon be the middleman that will allow artists to connect with their community, but then you need Patreon to do it, the idea is that all these decentralized technologies will allow a bunch of artists like myself with my podcast, or you definitely you with your music. I mean, much more, let's say, advanced with your creativity, to connect with your audience and to grow your audience without needing a middleman or a platform to do that. So it's an exciting time, not just for people who are in it for the financials and the money, but also for creators to experience this shift in the paradigm.
I know the online world has shifted everything for us.
Yeah.
Like, I know I would have such a harder time pitching myself right now than 10 years ago if it wasn't for online.
That's right.
Like, it's
if you think about it, like I discovered you because Lean Shaman
tagged me on LinkedIn.
Amazing, by the way.
Like, how crazy is that?
I think that's super awesome. She is a senior news editor at LinkedIn. This is the second back-to-back episode I give a shout out to Lynn, but like, credit where credit is due. She
Definitely.
She captured your track, which is called, how do you pronounce it in French?
Éphémère.
Éphémère. I love that track. I think I've watched the video like 6 times already.
Thank you for streaming my music.
Follow and subscribe for more.
Click that button.
But it's awesome that Lynn has also captured. So what she's done in that one weekly wrap up is she captured a bunch of us, up and coming artists each one in his own field. Thanks to people love to hate on social media. Yeah. I had a very critical episode on social media, episode 22, just last episode. But if you think about it, if it wasn't for social media and online space, I wouldn't be sitting with you right now. And
no.
Yeah.
Never in a million years.
And you wouldn't have your music go around. You have like some of your tracks have reached thousands of views. That's how does it make you feel like when you see people like you have never even met commenting on your tracks?
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone appreciates my music, it just like, it makes my day. I'm just like,
yeah. Yes, agreed. You have this thing on your wrist.
I do.
The
cool thing.
Yeah, it looks very cool. Actually, it looks cool. But what's the story there?
The story here, it's what got me here.
Okay.
It's my silver lining. I have chronic tendonitis in both hands, left wrist and right thumb. And I used to be a professional guitarist almost. So I was a guitarist and a ukulele player and a multi-instrumentalist. And due to overpractice, misdiagnosis, and mistreatment, I lost mobility of both hands for approximately 5 years. So I couldn't play any instrument, and they told me this is the end of your music career while I was still starting it. So it's one of the reasons I became a producer. I kept looking for a different way to make music, even if I cannot use my hands. And slowly but surely, I found Ableton, I found electronic music, I found the push, I found different ways of staying in the industry and expressing myself without too much use of my hands. And it took me a while to reintroduce the guitar back on stage.
Yeah. I was going to ask, you do play the guitar quite well. You despite your injury, you still are playing the guitar to the extent that you can on stage.
Yes.
And Éphémère is one of the tracks where you do play the guitar.
I was so scared of playing the guitar at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
I was like very scared of my hand not functioning correctly, and I dared myself. I was like, I'm putting the guitar, and the moment came to play the guitar live, and I was like, it's now or never. And
You went for it.
I went for it.
Amazing. Mind over body, I guess. Huh?
I think so.
Wow, fascinating.
But I do tell you, like, if any professional musician watches me play, they will tell you I play very awkwardly because I don't use my thumb.
Uh-huh.
So I play with one finger.
Right.
Which is very, normally the guitar you would play like
the
this.
The bass
or
strings
with
at the top of the thumb, right.
Yeah, or you play with a pick.
Sure.
I can't use the pick that much because it uses that function.
Oh my God, wow.
So I play with one finger. And it's hilarious when I play the guitar. It's like, she's playing with a finger.
Wow.
And even when I'm playing here or the piano, you never see me do this because this movement hurts. So you always see me playing like this
Yeah.
or like this.
I actually saw your hand was almost shaking at one point as you were trying to use your thumb. I was wondering if that was it or something else. Maybe you were just nervous.
Maybe a bit of nerves, or you'll never know. But yeah, I play like a sign of rock, and
No, but that's amazing. Like you managed to work around. Sorry to hear, by the way. I had a shoulder situation as well, so I know how much it sucks to have like missed. I had a bad operation actually. Did you ever operate on it?
no.
Okay.
I was told not to,
Okay.
because then you completely lose like 80% of the functionality.
Yeah, no, it's better not to. I mean, through experience. Well, you said mistreatment though. I'm curious to know how was it mistreated?
So I was seeing a physiotherapist and a doctor. So a lot of painkillers.
Oh.
They told me wear a guard for a month and then do physiotherapy and play the guitar.
Yeah.
I had that all like
Yeah.
jumbo was wrong.
Yeah, I had a similar situation. It turns out, yeah. So I had two types of painkiller treatments that were both fucked up. So one was the cortisone injections that I got on my shoulder.
I was also told not to do those.
So they worked until like they didn't, because then you ended up working out and lifting, feeling like the pain is gone, and all you do is just tearing your shoulder even more.
Yeah.
And then I had a period where I was prescribed opioids.
Oof.
And yeah, they were heavy. So they were fun too. So that was also a period of my time that's behind me now. But yeah, I mean, turns out like the only way to deal with these kind of injuries that come out of nowhere on your joints, your shoulders, your knees, and all that is just anything that is natural. I was talking the other day to my chiropractor. She's saying a lot of it is just emotional issues that manifest themselves in physical injuries in your joints and stuff. And I was like, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, mine was overplaying the guitar. It was not emotional.
Straight up, just like over practicing.
Just over practicing.
Yeah, that's crazy. But like you still managed to work your way around it.
Yeah, but I'll definitely give credit to 4 physiotherapists in my life that have brought my hands back. Abir Al-Khatib, Cesar Daoud, Ala, and Serena. Those 4 people, without them, I would not be able to sustain myself.
Are they based in Lebanon or Dubai?
One is now in Cyprus, 2 in Lebanon, one is in between here and Lebanon.
Yeah, fascinating. Physiotherapy is, I mean, how old are you?
32.
32. I know you never ask a lady her age, but
I don't mind.
You look young as well, so it's fine. Yeah, this is the age where shit starts to go downhill, like with your body and stuff. Like if you don't watch out for it.
Mine started at 23.
Yeah, same. I mean, as well. It's weird, but like, you know, fortunately you look very fit and healthy. And it's amazing to see that you managed to work your way around it. I mean, this is also amazing. You watch these Olympics, like, I mean, this is an extreme example. I'm not saying we're there anywhere near that, alhamdulillah. But yeah, it's amazing how how fascinating it is that the human potential to work around disabilities, really bad disabilities. I mean, thank God we're not there, but like as a musician, that could be crippling, and you managed to find a way around it, and you're performing just as good as any other musician.
I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So who are your who inspires, like, from all the people that you've, like, when you think about your favorite musicians and where you derive your inspiration, who are some of the musicians that you think about?
I'd say I started with Nirvana. Like, this is what
a coincidence. There's just a Nirvana album that happens to be
huge coincidence. We did not plan this one bit. I did not choose it. No.
Only the MTV Unplugged album behind you. It's only their best album ever.
Their best.
Okay, so Nirvana.
Yeah, so I played Nirvana for like 4 years straight when I got the guitar. It's all I played. Nirvana, Metallica. So I was very hard rock, grunge, heavy metal, alternative rock. And then came the land of pop. Yeah. So pop music is huge to me. Ellie Goulding is a huge influence for me. When I discovered she's opening for Expo.
She came to Expo?
She opened.
What?
Expo. I did my best to meet her. It didn't happen. But all of my friends who were with me saw me perform the opening with her. So we projected the opening ceremony on a wall and we were watching it. And then Ellie Goulding, and my favorite song of her is the song she's opening with, which is Anything Could Happen.
Okay.
And you just see me, I don't know, like, just shoot out of my seat and start performing. I barely knew my friends. I knew them for 2 days.
Yeah.
And they just saw me flat out perform the whole song.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
What's the Daft Punk one that she's done with Daft Punk? Ellie Goulding and Daft Punk. There's
I don't know which.
Oh, I forgot the name, but it was one of my favorite tracks. I'll send it to you after the session because I forgot the name now. Cool. So Nirvana, Ellie Goulding. You want to hear a fun fact about Nirvana? Maybe, I don't know if you know that fun fact actually.
Let's try.
The drummer, what's his name?
Dave Grohl.
Yeah, the Foo Fighters guy. You know, like with Smells Like Teen Spirit, like that sort of a syncopated beat. You know where he got that from?
No.
Disco music.
No way.
Yeah. So
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with Dave Grohl. Like, he's a madman in music.
Yeah. So like, it's such a cool sort of way to syncopate or whatever the beat. And he had a podcast recently after the death of the Foo Fighters member. Who was it? Somebody died.
Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah. I'm so bad with names. But yeah, so he was talking about how he, as a Nirvana drummer, was inspired by disco music. And he gives the example of Smells Like Teen Spirit as his...
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for me, it's like a lot of pop, a lot of Nirvana and rock, and also classical music, soundtracks, anything that communicates something to me, I'll just listen to it. I listen also to a lot of electronic music as well. And I listen to rap and hip hop and R&B, just like a variety of sounds. And I don't want to name artists and leave some artist out, so I'm just going to say like all music inspires me.
And clearly a lot of the like music that you would listen to when you were a younger kid, Arabic music and stuff. You mentioned the Traveler track is inspired by a lot of the...
although I rejected Arabic music as a kid. As a grown-up, I'm like, Arabic music, I like it now.
Yeah, it's funny how it's like that, right? After you start traveling and you leave home, you connect more with your roots through music.
You're suddenly the most patriotic person you've ever met. You're just like, yes.
Yeah. But like, listen, you said something about Lebanon, and I went to Lebanon. I studied at AUB. And it was 2004 to 2007. Yeah. So I also experienced the assassinations and the bombings and the war. And somehow we were still partying like it was...
nothing was happening.
No. I mean, I lived in New York and I lived in London and I lived in San Francisco. And I still think Lebanon is one of my favorite times of my life. And somehow the Lebanese know how to push through it no matter what. It's amazing. You know, BO18 was alive and well, Basement at the time. It was just a great party scene. We would go to Ice Bar in Mono, where they would play a lot of rock music. I don't know if you know these places at all. Like
Ice Bar, no. I think I was young to go in.
Okay, but you know the place, though, right?
Yeah.
So they would play a lot of the Nirvana and Pearl Jam and 3 Doors Down and all this kind of like up and coming.
3 Doors Down.
Yeah, Kryptonite and all these guys. So that was what I've never seen a nation. I've never seen a people push through whatever the fuck was going on and still party hard and still enjoy life. And like kudos to the Lebanese people for setting that example. Because every now and then you got to look up to somebody around you whenever you're going through adversity and be like, how do I go through my life? I mean, the Lebanese, if nothing else, they do set an example of let's just have fun. Let's just chill out, relax. Yeah, fuck the rockets, fuck the bombs. Let's just do it.
Don't be so serious all the time.
Yeah. But still somehow it gets a little too daunting, at least at the point that you were in Lebanon and you felt like you needed to leave.
And it was hard to leave because I am purely only Lebanese. So applying for visas, applying for residencies, not so much welcome sometimes. Yeah. So it is very stressful also to be Lebanese trying to leave Lebanon and being rejected by everyone else. Yeah. But Dubai accepts us. Dubai is safe. So thankfully I found a place where I can remove that sort of unneeded anxiety off of my shoulders.
So Khalas, you're relocated back to Dubai, or not back, you relocated to Dubai now?
Yeah, for now, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome.
Because I cannot be under the pressure of another residency application.
Yeah.
I'm done.
And listen, it's not a bad deal because...
It's a great deal.
I was going to say, I've been here since 2007 and the scene has evolved in ways that I would have... I don't know how many parties you've managed to go to while you were doing your Expo thing, but like this is not the UAE that I used to know.
No, just by walking the streets, it's not the UAE we used to know. I've been coming here since 2002, so since I was 12, because my parents live here. It used to be only the Emirates Tower and one mall, that's it. And then...
In 2002, yeah.
Yeah, and then Dubai Mall and Mall of the Emirates and everything, and changing times right now.
Indeed. I went to the party in Ras Al Khaimah.
Yeah.
Groove on the Grass. How much you know about them?
I see them a lot on Instagram.
Yeah. So I've been going to Group on the Grass parties since they started. I don't know, that was 2012, 2013. Love these guys. I love they had the Nicholas Jar and a bunch of other.
They're my vibe. I know they're my vibe, but I haven't had like I've been here since Expo, and Expo ended 2 weeks ago, and now it's Ramadan, so I haven't done anything in Dubai yet.
All right, so brace yourself, because this is not a country Dubai is going through a renaissance, and not just Dubai. Actually, there is a whole renaissance going on in the region between Saudi. There are raves, there are festivals going on in Saudi Arabia.
It's going crazy.
It's going crazy. So it's a great time to be alive. I mean, it's going to take time for it to actually feel organic and natural, because I think, especially in Saudi, but like here, I gotta tell you, I've partied all around the world. When I went to this and I've been to Groove on the Grass parties in the UAE. This particular last one that we went to in Ras Al Khaimah was on another level. I mean, the vibe was great, the music was great. Bahramji was there. First time I even know about. I mean, I was surprised I didn't even learn about Bahramji until like a couple of weeks ago. But then the people were free. They were partying like as if it was Burning Man.
Yeah,
literally, and that was amazing. That you can tell there's a direction and there's a movement going on to just like let people party and have fun and enjoy the music and just catch up with the world.
Yeah, like the music scene did change here, and I see that change. I remember being here when I was 22. I was like, okay, there's nothing for me to do here. That like you can't go to a bar and play.
Yeah.
Now there's so many places that you can feel where, oh, this is my identity. I can belong here with this niche audience, or I'm this cover artist who plays rock. I belong to these bars, and especially with El Cercal, it opens a lot of doors. This is a very artistic scene that I've yet to discover and yet to connect with and yet to contact. But you can tell there's a lot more culture growing here.
Yeah. El Cercal is a great place. Too bad they don't play like music when you walk around. Like you don't hear music playing anywhere. Like
no, you have to enter.
You have to enter. Like I buy a lot of my records from the record store over there. Not a lot of bars there too, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so you always have, but still, I'll take that any day, right? There's a lot of evolution, slow but sure. One thing I
watched an indie Lebanese film in El Cercal. Like I would have never imagined watching that here.
Yeah. So what's the name of the Cinema Aqil?
Yes.
Yeah. So my one of my best friend's girlfriend, she used to work there. Yeah. And they're all into arts, and she's awesome. She's now working at a podcast network company. And so there is, that's amazing. In the UAE, you have like a lot of podcast networks coming up, Cinema Aqil coming up, Cercal. Too bad you don't have like street musicians. I was going to ask you about street musicians in the UAE. Like, how cool would it be if you like go?
Where do you want to put him, on Sheikh Zayed Road? The guy will fly off.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I was thinking of that too. You're not gonna. It'll suck to have him in the Mall of the Emirates in front of like Carrefour, like playing. Like,
but I have seen. I think it's City Walk or Blue Waters have events, and they would put like street musicians on these events.
Oh, okay.
And that's all on Instagram. Like I haven't seen Dubai much, but I do my research through websites and Instagram. I do see like this kind of street busking vibe.
Yeah.
Illegal street busking, but kind of vibe happening.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a good time to be in this part of the world. Having a creative outlet, you are actually a professional in the creative space. I was somebody who was working for a long time without having a need for a creative outlet, but not actually catering for it or being attentive to it. Like what I now that I'm doing like my podcast, which is hardly even like, it's just a hobby, it's just a side gig, but like you're somebody who's doing music. Do you ever talk to people where you feel like you want to tell them, whenever you hear people are bored or depressed or not feeling well, like how perhaps a lot of it is maybe the lack of a creative outlet? Do you ever find yourself talking to your friends about that?
No.
Okay.
Never. Yeah. I think the only time I saw a friend depressed, I asked her, like, does she take cold showers because they help lift your mood up?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like what do you call him?
The Hoffman, is it?
Wim Hof, yeah.
Wim Hof. Yeah, I Wim Hofed, and I felt like this is so great. So when I saw a friend like struggling a little bit, I'm like, you should Wim Hof.
Nice.
It's gonna set your mind somewhere else.
So I've done the breathing one. I've never done the cold shower. Is it as good as it sounds?
It's really cool.
Oh, wow.
Because you just go with a purpose.
Yeah.
You're done, and then start your day, and you're just like electrified the whole day.
Amazing. It has a term too, something therapy, cryotherapy, I think, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Cool. No, because I've always wondered. I had one of my best friends, the same guy I was talking to you about earlier, Basil Abrub, and he used to be a drummer. He had a high school band, and he now plays a lot of music again, only for himself, by the way, or maybe just for his friends. So he makes music just like you do. He uses Logic Pro, so different interface, but same process.
Yeah.
And he took courses, and he's 37 years old. And he does it just because he needs to create. He can't just like work and make money. And I respect that so much in him. And he used to be like a very talented drummer. He still is. But something happens as you get older, responsibilities fall around in life. And you kind of discard that need.
I mean, this is not the easiest way to pay your bills at the end of the day.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you earlier, right? Like, I mean, it's hard to be an artist that actually makes a living, but then people who still do it anyway. I mean, you got to have a lot of respect for that, because that means that they are honoring that need so much. But clearly, it can't be easy. So, like, how do you cope with times when, like?
I mean, you hope for the best first, and then it's like you're your own little business. So, Earlybird is my company. It's my baby.
Yeah.
And I need to take care of it all the time.
Yeah.
It's what I wake up for. It's what I sleep for. So I constantly think of how do I stay like organic with Earlybird, but also I need to have a business mindset. So I feel like I have two different personalities. You have Dana, who's the manager of Earlybird, and Earlybird, who's the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And Dana makes sure all the deals are signed. Dana makes sure Earlybird's getting paid so Dana can live, and Earlybird's just having fun while Dana takes care of her.
I love how you have separate characters.
My brain is completely like mushed all the time. Yeah.
That's amazing. But like most of the business then, I guess, comes from the live performances, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't rely on streams. I don't rely on anything. I love performing most.
Yeah.
So I try to make that my source of income as much as possible. And also, hopefully next I get like deals. I hope Ableton call me one day. That'd be great. My next step right now is like, I finished Expo, I'm going to a festival in Europe, and that, like, it just starts building one after the other, but you have to get rejected a lot, fail a lot for one window to open, not even a door. It's just a window.
Right.
And then you go into that window, which for me was Expo 2020, and then you start hoping something will come out of it. And then you start reaching out to a lot of people as well. Like,
how did you even land the Expo 2020 gig?
I'm not sure, word of mouth. I got into Expo.
Okay.
And I auditioned for Expo. They took me in. I'm a resident musician, 1 out of 50. 1 out of 50 in the whole world. How did that happen?
That's pretty awesome.
I'm a very tiny baby. Earlybird is 4 years old.
That's amazing.
Earlybird should be busking.
That's amazing.
It is, it's crazy.
But then you said Ableton could sign you, like what, they usually sign artists?
They don't sign artists, but they promote artists.
Okay.
So if you use Ableton, they do like, exactly like we're doing right now.
Right.
It's not a podcast, but you perform with the machine and then you explain your process.
Right, yeah.
And that's one of my dreams. Like, it's one of my goals, that to be recognized by Ableton, because they helped me so much.
Yeah, I mean, sure, this is an amazing piece of hardware, and their software is incredible.
Yeah.
I even like their logo because it illustrates the two different interfaces, right? So the vertical lines is when you have the different...
That's the session view and the arrangement views.
It's very cool. I love the story. I mean, I think these guys are underrated, because unless you're in music production, you don't understand the genius that goes on in the software that is Ableton. It's incredible. It's fascinating.
It is. It unleashes your creativity to a point that is not normal.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, almost to the point where, like, because I started learning Ableton, I loved it, and then when I realized how hard it gets with mastering and mixing and like, every little tune, how much, I was like, oh, fuck that shit, man. And I'm somebody who's into like instant gratification, so I can't handle that. Said, I think it reminds me of Microsoft Excel and programming and stuff that I know how to do to some extent. Ableton, once you get the hang of it, like, you can create a track in half an hour and it's like ready to go, like on the spot. Like, if you're familiar with the shortcuts and...
Yeah, I actually wear glasses.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't see my screen most of the time. That's how much I know Ableton.
Yeah.
I don't put my glasses on. When I do, I'm like, ooh, high definition. What's up?
It looks good. Fair enough, yeah. But it's a beautiful software. And so one of your aspirations, you said, is for Ableton to recognize you and promote you.
Yes.
So that's a cool goal to have. What are your like I mean, sometimes I wonder if aspirations is a good thing or a bad thing, because if you have an aspiration that for whatever reason is too high, you might like get discouraged if you don't get there. So do you ever think about like what are your aspirations as an artist? Do you have like...
Oh yeah, I go like way high and then get knocked down way low.
And you're up for it.
And I'm up for it. I'm like, bring it on. You reject me, I'm going to make you want me. And then I'll just go for it.
That's amazing.
Again and again and again.
What do you attribute that to?
Stubbornness.
Yeah, but I mean, like, is it your upbringing? Do you have like a sibling? Like,
I come from a stubborn family. Everyone's stubborn there.
Very nice.
They're going to kill me after this.
Yeah, that's cool. Sometimes being able to channel that stubbornness into something like I guess what you mean, perseverance and tenacity, right?
And it's passion also. Like, I want it.
Yeah.
So, for example, when I released my EP Soft Colors, which was my first solo EP, I wanted to be with a label. Like, I wanted Universal Music or Sony Music and get the team and get the socials and everything happening.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. But I was so persistent in reaching out that I did get a distributor, which is AWOL.
Nice.
Which is great. I don't have to pay to upload my music. But if I do make revenue on stream, they take a percentage and I make money out of it.
Right, yeah.
So for me, it was a very big win situation.
It is, yeah.
And I took it. And I was like, yes, hell yes, let's go.
Absolutely.
And now my next step is I do want to get signed to a label because it does come with a lot of benefits, even though I'm an independent artist.
Yeah. 100%. And the importance of enjoying these small wins as they come, right? Because, you know, and that's the best part about being an up-and-coming artist or up-and-coming anything in life is that
it's a journey.
It's a journey, and every little step, every little win is so huge from your vantage point that you get to enjoy it. I mean, it almost sucks to become too famous or too good at something because then you have no more room for growth and everything is just the same. Like Jim Carrey is a good example of, I don't know how much you listened to his recent, like he's had it with all these Oscars and awards and you
it's
know.
Like been there, done that too many times.
Yeah, and he talks about it. People call him crazy, but like, you know, he's having what might seem to somebody from the outside like a
existential crisis.
Existential crisis, like he's gone crazy, right? He talks about like how he's had enough and he's done. He's ready to go. He almost sounds like he's ready to die, right?
Wow.
And so like there's something about also like always having something to look forward to, and yeah, that's why I just, no matter what it is in life, I just think people need to jump into new things, get uncomfortable, you know, like face failure. This is a great example of what you're talking about. I mean, and being able to embrace it one way or another, whatever your modality is, because it's just so much, it's always worth it.
It is. There's so much beauty to when you fail and you accept it. And then when you rise up again and you don't know where you're going after that failure, but once you get that win, you're like, oh, this is where it was leading me. Maybe at the beginning it wasn't as nice. Like you cry about it, you talk about it, and you're like, this is not happening. I'm having such a bad day. Da, 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 da. And then Expo happens, and then something happens. You go back down, and you're like, even I know I'm at Expo. I should be grateful. I should be happening, but I'm not happy. Blah 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 blah. I'm in a festival which is called FIMU. It's in Belfort. It's in France. From the 2nd.
That's when you're going to this summer?
Yeah, from the 2nd of June until the 5th. They're honoring Lebanon, and I was chosen as one of the Lebanese artists.
Wow.
So I was like,
wow, that is very cool.
Amazing. And then I met some people at Expo, and now we're going to be touring together after I finish FIMU. And actually, I play with a taiko drummer at Expo.
Oh, nice.
And FIMU saw that she's playing with me, and they're like, can we get your taiko drummer with you? I was like, please, yes. So now Yumi's joining me in FIMU, and then we're going to tour together. And it's like, it's not about the big things that are happening, but it's just like so many little things.
The morphing of the different like path lines between you and your colleagues and your coworkers. It's like a butterfly effect. It's amazing. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just listening to this, but I mean, it's really cool. What do you? So after you're done with your performance in Europe, what would be your where would people come into Dubai to listen to your music?
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
I haven't planned that far.
Okay, so it's gonna be Spotify and SoundCloud until you have
until further notice. Yeah,
until you have a new Expo.
Because I know in the summer Dubai is really hot, so I know I'm in Europe for a month, I'm in Lebanon for a month, and then I need to spend 2 months somewhere else and then come back.
Fair enough. Why Earlybird? What's the name?
So it all relates to my tendinitis. My life revolved around tendinitis for too long, and I had to become an early bird to learn music while having odd jobs. So I would wake up around 4 or 5 a.m., read about music, go work out, and then go to work. Because
your tendinitis would stand in the way of your productivity, so you have to wake up early to catch up?
Yeah, I just needed to learn at a time where I had time to learn. And
amazing.
And I became Earlybird due to using it a lot as a hashtag. Because I'd show people like, oh, it's 5 a.m., I'm producing music, #Earlybird.
Wow.
And when I wanted to release my first song, which was called Next to You, I couldn't see Dana Fakhoury or Dana F, which was my first artist name. It didn't click. Yeah. And I felt Earlybird.
Yeah.
I saw it. I was like, yeah.
I love the name.
Thank you.
There's quite a few early birds though. When you look people up,
They were not there when I started. Like I need to copyright my name now.
copycats. طيب, what are your favorite from all your tracks? Which one would you say is your favorite?
I have ins and outs. So it's like one day this is my favorite song, and then the next I hate all the other. Not hate. I created those, but like I've had enough of those tracks. But right now, my favorite is Your Harness because I'm enjoying so much performing it. I just go crazy when I'm performing it. And my least favorite at the moment is because I've overperformed it is Ombre Noire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I loved it so much
You got bored of it.
I got bored of it.
Fascinating. Well, listen, I really love what you're doing. Where can we catch more of your music before you go to France?
Everywhere.
Like, I mean, aside of the streaming, are you performing live in Dubai before, or is it break time after Expo?
I think it's break time.
Yeah,
I might in May, not sure, but you can keep up on Instagram, Facebook, new on TikTok. Have no idea what I'm doing there. I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
And all the streaming platforms.
Spotify, SoundCloud.
Anghami, SoundCloud, YouTube, Deezer, Apple Music, Amazon Music. I'm everywhere.
Earlybird is the name that you go with.
Yes.
April 15, Traveler drops.
Yes.
Check it out. Love your music.
Check it out, share it, like it, subscribe, hit any button you find.
Any button you
Give
find.
me a shout out. Talk to me if you feel anything.
Unfortunately, by the way, the small but relevant follower base that I have are all people that would dig my music, most of them. So I think this is going to resonate.
I already love your following.
Thank you so much. Really great to have you here. I appreciate you taking the time. I wish you all the best. And anybody that has been tuning in, this is Fakhoury, goes by Earlybird.
Yes.
And that's a wrap.
And I want to thank you.
Cheers.